Amy, I would ask you what your reaction was. In what world does this happen to a team where a quarterback basically gives his head coach the middle finger?
In what world? When your head coach is Dennis Allen. Susie, I'm speaking from experience. As you know, I overlapped with Dennis Allen in Oakland for 1 year. And everything I observed during that year is such that when that play happened, I wasn't the least bit surprised. Now, if it happened to any other coach, I would have been surprised. It happened and Dennis was the coach. I was not the least bit surprised.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And what you just heard was from former Raiders Chief Executive Officer Amy Trask. Amy Trask was the CEO of the Raiders from 1997 to about 2013. So she was doing an interview, there talking a little bit about Dennis Allen and her experience with him. Of course, we know about the controversial play that took place on Sunday, and she was giving her thoughts. And we're going to be talking about that throughout the show. I got a few more sound bites that I wanted to play in regards to that. But I want to say thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are, wherever you may be, I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to all the people that love the State of the Saints podcast. And also shouts out to all the haters out there that wish that I would just wave the pom-poms of the New Orleans Saints every episode, always telling me what I can't do and how bad the show is, but always seem to be here. Shouts out to y'all too. Let your boy show you how we do it every single time. But on this edition, we're going to be talking about head coach Dennis Allen, and now it is official. Who Dat Nation, happy days are here again. Depending on who is listening to this right now, Dennis Allen will return to the New Orleans Saints for a third season, a three-peat of Dennis Allen. They are not only doubling down on Dennis Allen, they are tripling down on Dennis Allen. Happy days are here again. Well, not for me, and I'm pretty sure it's not for a lot of people, and of course it's not for the people that donated their hard-earned money to put a billboard on Airline Drive who wanted it to say, quote, fire Dennis Allen, plain and simple, straight to the point, chef kiss. But nothing we really can do about it, Who Dat Nation. I mean, Dennis Allen is going to come back for a third season. It is what it is, man, at this point. I already said 2023 is over for the New Orleans Saints, and the only thing that we can do is, embark on this new journey in 2024. The team should look different. I'm pretty sure the coaching staff is going to look different, and the Saints are going to have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And unfortunately, in my humble opinion, I like saying that, in my humble opinion, I just feel like they are prolonging the inevitable. You got to have some level of respect for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, to watch the boat sink, to watch the Titanic sink and just stand there on the boat and play the violin as the water just starts to come into the boat and just completely overlap it and it's going down, but they're willing to play the violin. And it is an amazing thing to watch an organization be as stubborn as the New Orleans Saints are. I mean, they are going to make this thing work. And if it does not work, they're going to put people around Dennis Allen in order to make him work. I was wondering to myself, when people were asking me, I've been married for about 3.5 years now. And, people ask me, when they're looking for relationships and they're trying to find that special somebody, they say, TJ, I know you love your wife, and I do, man. Shouts out to my wife. I don't know if she's listening to this right now. She's at work. My wife's a nurse. She's helping people get back to better health. But people say, what kind of love do you look for? Like, what kind of love does your wife give you? And I wanted this to be simple, okay? And for all my people out there that may be looking for love, looking for commitment, find you a Mickey Loomis type love. Do you understand me? Find you a Mickey Loomis, New Orleans Saints type love. I'm talking about that love when you know that it may not be good, but you still gonna make it work. Like it's gonna be hard, but you still gonna make it work. You're gonna do everything within your power to make sure that you get that type of love. And you're gonna give that love with everything that you have. When you love something like Mickey Loomis, please. Because I guarantee you, if you're loving something like Mickey Loomis, it's gonna last. Even if it shouldn't, it's gonna last. Gee whiz. I don't understand the infatuation. We watched on yesterday, if you're watching this on a Wednesday, we saw yesterday that Mike Vrabel, who led the Tennessee Titans to the AFC Championship, multiple AFC South titles, get fired from his job. This man was on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, and he got fired. And yet, Dennis Allen, who has the worst winning percentage among active coaches, still keep his job. How? I just don't understand it. The Saints love Dennis Allen. They feel like Dennis Allen is the answer. Maybe I'm missing something. I've been seeing people coming and caping for Dennis Allen all up on my timeline. People that tell me that I'm not really good at this podcasting thing. I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess, because, I'm not around the organization like everybody else. I'm not good at my job. I mean, there's a whole different can of worms for the reason I'm not around that organization. They pretty much told me it's nothing to do with me. It's probably because I am who I am is the reason I'm not around. But for all those people out there that say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Dennis Allen is a good coach. Bill Belichick had a bad outing with the Cleveland Browns before he figured it out with the New England Patriots. Let me tell y'all something. Bill Belichick is a really good head coach. He was a really good head coach when he was with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns was just the Modell family were a very, very stubborn organization. Case in point, they were not willing to do the things that were necessary in order to help Bill Belichick build a championship franchise, probably because they were so busy trying to move the team to Baltimore. See, people like to throw certain things in your face to try to validate points, but they don't tell you the entire story. They'll tell you how long Jim Haslett was with the New Orleans Saints losing. They'll say, the Saints were patient with Sean Payton, but what they won't tell you, because they're not knee deep in a game and they don't know what they're talking about for the most part. Let me tell you something. Unlike some of you that just try to throw things out there, hurry up and catch things on Google and Wikipedia to try to bring it back to me to sound like the smartest person in the room, you're actually talking to someone that majored in history before I transitioned to communications. I love history, not just any type of history, American history, European history. I like football history as well. And history will tell you that the New Orleans Saints with Jim Haslett and Sean Payton, they had feats that no other coaches had. So I can understand why they would be held on as long as they did. For example, Jim Haslett. Yes, Jim Haslett's final season with the New Orleans Saints, he went 3-13. But what they don't tell you is that Jim Haslett was the first head coach to win a playoff game for the New Orleans Saints. And I know that because I was a 14-year-old kid, and shouts out to my Uncle Jerry. Me and my Uncle Jerry went to the playoff game, and we watched the Saints beat the St. Louis Rams in the playoffs. I was actually there, okay? That I actually caught a bus. I caught the St. Claude bus down to Canal Street, and we walked up to Poydras Street. I'll never forget this as long as I live. So for people that just say, oh, you're not a real Saints fan, your boy caught the bus for the Saints. Your boy got that dollar in his pocket. As a matter of fact, I didn't really have that much money. I had 4 quarters. I put 4 quarters on that bus, and I walked a half of a mile to Poydras Street in order for me to watch the football game. So miss me with this stuff talking about I'm fair weather, okay? I've been in this thing before Sean Payton and Drew Brees was even thought about. When Drew Brees was around this thing throwing for 400 yards at Purdue, your boy was repping the Saints. But anyway, Jim Haslett. Jim Haslett was the first coach to lead the New Orleans Saints to a playoff win. So I can understand why they will want to be patient with a guy that showed the New Orleans Saints that he's capable of doing something that hasn't been done in franchise history. What about Sean Payton? No, he was patient with Sean Payton. Mickey Loomis was patient with Sean Payton. Sean Payton led the Saints in his very first season to the NFC Championship game. They lost to the Chicago Bears, a feat that has never been done by any coach in New Orleans Saints history. So, of course, you would have a Zen-like patience. Even fans, they would have a level of patience because Sean Payton showed you he was capable of taking the Saints to a spot they have never been. So for those that are caping, the Cape Crusaders out there for Dennis Allen, tell me, what leg does Dennis Allen have to stand on? A 9-8 season with a weak schedule? Going up against backup quarterbacks, and you couldn't beat backup quarterbacks, and that is what you all are validating? Well, he can coach defense. Well, guess what? That's great and fine and dandy. Teams need defense to win championships, but you also need a head coach that's a leader of men. But some of you can't see the forest through the trees because you are the reason why Dennis Allen can stay with the New Orleans Saints as long as he can. Because no matter what the situation is, you're willing to come to the defense of an inept organization right now. You're willing to stand on business for somebody that doesn't care about you. You have Saints Stockholm Syndrome. Some of you have Saints Stockholm Syndrome. You don't want to call it like it is. And I'm not saying the sky's falling. Look, we don't have to be Chicken Little about everything. There are some positive things about the team. We seen Chris Olave, A.T. Perry. We seen Kendre Miller. We see Rashid Shaheed. We see Paulson Adebo stepping up, living up to his potential. We see Isaac Yadam out there, Lante Taylor. You know, we see a lot of these young guys stepping up. So there are some bright spots. But we also understand it doesn't matter what we see. When you don't have a coach that can consistently get it out of a player, you are wasting prime players' abilities and time. And you're wasting a fan base time because you don't have what it takes to get the team to where it needs to be. And we all know that. But instead of some of you sitting up here realizing that, you want to stand on your porch and yell to the rooftops like you get some extra stripes for being loyal. No, you're not being loyal. You're being naive. Because anybody can see this. It's not just me. It's not just people in the chat. It's not just people that just follow this football team. It is the national media. It is people that follow other teams that can see that this dude is not it. And if you don't believe me, check out the CEO, Amy Trask, talk about the first impression of Dennis Allen.
Day one, he's hired, calls a staff meeting or asks that a staff meeting be called of every single person in the organization. And everyone was so excited, and every single department, coaching, trainers, equipment, tickets. I made sure every business department was there. The auditorium was packed. And he got up and he was really rude. Not only didn't he demonstrate leadership to enthuse the staff and to excite the staff and to lead the staff, he was demeaning, he was derisive, and people walked out of that room just stunned.
Lack of leadership. I mean, and honestly, let me tell y'all something. Okay, I don't know who it was. I don't know. It may have been Sharif, the sports reporter down there, that report the New Orleans Saints. I think he works for WDSU, if I'm not mistaken. But he asked a question. I don't have the soundbite, but I'm pretty sure some of you saw it if you saw the end of the year press conference by Dennis Allen. He asked the question, what is the message that you have for Saints fans that feel like that there's very little hope about this team for the future? And the answer that he gave, it was as if he didn't owe the Saints fans absolutely no explanation. It was some garbage, go and take a look at it. It was some garbage, convoluted statement that he made that, he kind of wrap up in a whole bunch of cliches like he does Captain Cliche himself. It was a bunch of just nonsense. Like, how, why are you wasting my time asking me about what fans think? This dude does not care about what fans think about him. This dude doesn't care about what people feel because he has it in a bag. And why should he care? Because you have an organization that is willing to bring in anything that he needs in order to try to prop this dude up, to try to make this dude look the part, to make him sound the part. I told y'all, I'm a history buff, right? So I want to tell y'all a story about our former president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the only president to have 3 terms, and a lot of people look at him as the greatest president of all time. But a lot of people may not know this about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, is that he had polio. He couldn't walk. He was confined to a wheelchair, and a lot of people didn't realize that. And they tried to hide this, right? They tried to hide the fact that he couldn't really walk and he was confined to a wheelchair. So every time you seen FDR, on television or a picture, he always had him standing up. But a lot of people didn't realize that he had braces on that would lock up in order for him to stand erect and stand up straight and be able to deliver these powerful statements and these powerful speeches that he's known for. They were covering up for it because they wanted him to look strong. They wanted him to look the part. Everybody remember that famous speech when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. That was one of his strongest speeches. But a lot of people don't realize that they were covering up for FDR. FDR, Dennis Allen, is not, right? He's not a leader, but there's a lot of people around him covering up for his ineptitude. And I'm telling you right now, you cannot mask this anymore. The first year, people were kind of skeptical about it, but they gave him an opportunity because they felt like the Saints had the right pieces in place. You were going in the right direction. You had Sean Payton kind of staff. So how can you mess that up, right? And they had some people that were still on the fence. But what got them over the hump, what the Saints did was borderline political. What they did was they did something that Sean Payton didn't do. They started to bring in homegrown guys that went to local high schools that we recognize, went to LSU. So they made us feel excited about the future, right? Oh, man, look at Dennis Allen doing what Sean Payton didn't do. He's bringing in LSU players. He brought in a Honey Badger. He brought in Jarvis Landry. Started to get us all excited, right? Because he was doing something that Sean Payton didn't do. And that was arrogance on their part because they made us believe, and this was the greatest Jedi mind trick in history. I got to give them credit for this. They made us believe that the coaching of Sean Payton did not matter that much. Realizing, and some of us should have not fell for the banana in the tailpipe because we have a large enough sample size before Sean Payton and Drew Brees got here that the Saints were not very good. And Sean Payton gave a lot of you that may not understand this, gave you the love, gave you the passion, gave you the confidence to be able to go after other teams and talk about how good your team was. Before that, we didn't have that. So the greatest Jedi mind trick ever was them telling us that we didn't need Sean Payton, and we believed them for the most part. But now we see how important coaching is. Now we see how much of a lame duck this dude actually is. I know a lame duck is more coined towards a presidential term, but it is what it is. This dude is not very good at his job. And no matter what you put around him, he's going to fumble the bag. I'm going on record, and I hope that I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I do not mind being wrong. Anybody that follows me on Twitter, I'm willing to accept when I'm wrong. I'm willing to accept when things aren't, when I say one thing and it turns out to be a different way. I will come on here and correct myself. I don't mind eating crow, but I'm telling you, I stand on business when I say this. I would be shocked if Dennis Allen lasts the entire season. I would be shocked if this dude ain't fired by at least week 7. Why do you think the New Orleans Saints are trying to bring in John Gruden? Oh, we bring in John Gruden because John Gruden understands Derek Carr. Let me tell y'all something. And I said this on Twitter earlier today. How you gain it is how you lose it. How did Dennis Allen come back to this football team? Anybody remember? He came in as a defensive advisor to Rob Ryan. Rob Ryan was a players type coach, but he was unorganized, right? 12 men in a huddle so many different times. Deep 10 players on the field all often, right? So we need to get organized. So what did the Saints do? They brought back Dennis Allen on a consulting basis. And basically what they did was they waited for Rob Ryan to slip up so they can just easily place as defensive coordinator. What you're seeing is history repeat itself. If John Gruden is to get hired on the Saints coaching staff as a senior advisor, trust and believe the New Orleans Saints understand that they have a coach that a lot of fans don't like, and a lot of people feel like he is going to fumble the bag in 2024. So what are they going to do when this occurs? Whether it's 2024 or 2025, they're going to slide John Gruden right into that place. Watch. If they let Dennis Allen go in the middle of the season, watch who becomes the interim head coach. And then at the end of the season, watch who becomes the head coach on a permanent basis. Everybody knows that John Gruden wants to be a head coach. Never wanted to leave the Raiders. Never wanted to go. Suing the NFL as of right now. There's a case going on in the Las Vegas Supreme Court about collusion and blackballing, right? So this guy wants to get back. And like I said, the way that you gain it, you lose it, right? That's how you got your job. You got your job by sliding in the back door. And now the same thing is starting to happen to you. And no, TJ, that ain't what it is, man. They trust Dennis Allen. Man, they need to give Dennis Allen a chance. Man, I would love to have what some of y'all are smoking. I would love to have what some of y'all are drinking, because there is nothing that I've seen out of Dennis Allen. Don't let this 9-8 record fool you. There was a lot of things that happened for the New Orleans Saints in order for them to even be in this position. And now you're going to be going up against Sean Payton's Denver Broncos. You're going to be going up against Patrick Mahomes. You're going to be going up against Justin Herbert. You're going to be going up against Matthew Stafford. You're going to be going up against Jalen Hurts. You're going to be going up against Dak Prescott. Good luck. If you are having issues beating Josh Dobbs, do you really think that you're going to be able to consistently neutralize the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Hurts? Come on, man. This is inevitable right now. This is Thanos. When Thanos said the statement, "I am inevitable," what's going to happen to Dennis Allen is inevitable. Some of you just don't want to see it. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to not want to see it. But I'm telling y'all right, your team about what anybody else thinks. I don't sit up here and try to blow smoke up your behind just to try to gain your trust. I tell it like it is. Everybody can see this, except for those that don't want to see it. Some of you want to be lied to. Some of you know when a person isn't coming home at 2 o'clock what they doing. But instead, you want to just sit up here and say maybe they work late. A lot of delusion going on around here, but TJ Jones ain't about to be delusional. Most of the Who Dat Nation that's watching this right now are not delusional. Even the ones that try to act as if they are delusional. I know you're smarter than that. And if you're not, stay tuned. You will be. But we got more sound bites that we got to play. But let me go ahead and read some of these comments. Man. Thank y'all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Let's go to Cool Sports. Thank you very much for the 1999. Says, don't listen to these folks, TJ. Who said you're not a real fan, TJ? They don't get the people are different, so not all fans are going to be the same. I'm with you, and I'm not, it's not our personality to just accept anything and just be yes fans. Well, that's just not me. But there's a lot of people out there that look at me on social media and they just say, oh, man, look at this guy. You know, who is this guy? He ain't Nick Underhill. He ain't Ross Jackson. Look, all due respect to all those guys, but I don't sit up here and talk about my accolades and the things that I do. But anybody that knows me, I came from absolutely nothing. I have no business being in a position that I'm in right now, except for hard work and dedication. I sit up here right now as a general manager of the radio station that's right behind me right now. I sit up here and as a member of the South Carolina Broadcasting Association, covering the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers from my own publication. Got accepted to the Senior Bowl as a member of the media through my own blood, sweat, and tears. Went to Indianapolis on my own dime, on my own blood, sweat, and tears, being approved by the NFL Communications. Nobody gave me a dime. So anybody that sits up here and says I'm not qualified, I bust my tail for this. I don't sit up here and just brag about my accomplishments, but everything that I did, I earned. And to me, no disrespect to those guys, they're no different from me. None. There's no difference. They work hard just as much as I do. And maybe it's just because I am a little bit more vocal. I'm a little bit more outspoken. And I'll be even talk to members of the Saints PR team. God basically told me that it had absolutely nothing to do with who I am and what I do. But it's just the fact that I'm not a company guy. I'm not going to sit up here and just, I guess, toe the line, I guess. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it for I'm just not. And I'm not trying to make excuses. And honestly, it doesn't hurt me at all. So for those that may be new to it, it may not, may have just seen me a couple times, just think I'm just some dude that just sitting up here. Nah, bro, we certified like a first and a 15th check. So miss me with that 9 cents right there. Next says, I can't wait. We are like 3-7 or something the middle of next year. What will DA say? Can't wait. Look, he don't have anything to say this year. What leg does he have to stand on besides the Saints just like this guy? It was your coaches that you brought in. It was the quarterback that you wanted, and you still missed the playoffs. He has no excuse. To me, it's a miracle that he still has a job right now. And if the Saints didn't care so much about optics, then he wouldn't have a job right now. But what you have right now is a general manager that's an executive vice president that can do virtually whatever he wants. And he can drag his feet about any situation because there's no consequences behind it. And when you have an organization basically no matter what happens, no matter if your coach is falling short time after time again, they are taking his sides instead of the players. They basically told the players, it's rather you going to get on board with Dennis Allen or we're going to ship you out. So you're about to see some of the cornerstone players leave to try to save face for a guy that's more than likely won't be here at the end of the season. And then you're going to find yourself have to start back from square one again. All because you are too stubborn to try to recognize that this dude cannot stand on his own 2 feet. And you can try to make this thing work, but it's only a matter of time before he gets exposed again. You can bring in an offensive coordinator with great ideas and offensively innovative, and the Saints may turn it around and may become a playoff team. But guess what's going to happen? That offensive coordinator is going to be the same way like Ben Johnson. He's going to become a hot commodity, and he leaves, and then what you going to do? You're going to be right back in the same position you was in before because you have a head coach that cannot weather the storm on his own. Once again, it's like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You're trying to hide his imperfections. You're trying to blind everybody from the fact that this guy is confined to a wheelchair. So you prop him up anytime is not what it seems. It's only a matter of time, folks. Like I said, whatever you put together is not going to be continuous success, because what you have is a coach that can't stand on his own 2 feet. Let's see. It's a crime that DA still has a job. I agree. Dennis Allen says Carr played good, but was throwing backhanded compliments to other star players. Really shows you that what the guy really is. Well, Jay, you have to understand his success is tied to Derek Carr. So you got to keep Derek Carr's morale high. You gotta say Derek Carr is the greatest thing since Joe Montana, because you don't want to get on his bad side, because you basically tied yourself to Derek Carr. So of course he's going to prop him up. That's his guy. He goes as Derek Carr goes. Just had this conversation with my brother yesterday. Says it's a shame he's still a head coach. Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. It just shows you that the organization really has no vision. And they're afraid of trying anything new. But at the most, the Saints are bringing somebody that you're familiar with that has, I guess, like a history of winning. I'm just shocked. They made a commitment to Sean Payton. Sean Payton at the time never was a head coach. He was offensive coordinator. He was an offensive coordinator for the Giants. He was offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys before the Saints signed him. And look how much success that you had with this guy by giving a guy who never had a head coaching job an opportunity. It seems like the Saints are afraid to do it again. But you're going to be forced to do so. You've been said that what's going to happen. I'm standing on business. I'll be shocked. I would be shocked if this dude lasts the entire season. If he does, it's probably for the simple fact that you have an organization, once again, that is very, very slow to the draw. So they'll probably just let you coach the remainder of the season and fire you at the end. Saints about to lose the black in front office to the Panthers. Yeah, Kai Harley. But look, Kai Harley deserves a GM job. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of guys like Terry Fontenot. I'm proud of guys like Kai Harley. I'm proud of guys like Jeff Ireland, getting opportunities and getting interviews. I ain't got no problem with that. That's what it's about. Look, if you're good at your job, you want eventually be approached with a promotion. It may be tough for the people on your floor or the people that you work with to not work with you every day because you have a rapport. And it might be hard for you, but at the end of the day, it's all about elevation, right? Elevation or termination. That's the name of the game. And these guys are really good at their job, so I don't have any issue with that. Them getting interviews is a testament to their hard work and dedication. But it's also going to expose this front office and a lot of the ineptitude. But unless you get some other guys and find success with them. Low expectation for 2024, 7 teams from the playoff this year. Dennis Allen is incompetent and inept to coach against any competent coach. Never won. Has he ever won against a coach with a winning record? Maybe once. Anybody that knows what they're doing for the most part or has some level of credibility as a coach, he gets out-coached. And they lose embarrassingly. So if Dennis Allen had just rolled with his players for that last touchdown of the season, he probably would have won a good bit of the fans back. But the fact is he went on there and told on everyone. Yep, and that's not a good look. He threw his team under the bus. We talked about that on last episode. But I got a few more clips that I gotta play here. This one right here, this is from Amy Trask. Once again, for those that just tuned in, Amy Trask was the CEO of the Raiders from 1997 to 2013, and she was talking about her experience with Dennis Allen. Now, she kind of overlapped Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was, I want to say, going into his first season as the head coach of the Raiders when she was there. So she was talking a little bit about her first impression with him. She talked about how she was not surprised about how Jameis Winston and the team decided to take it upon themselves to give Jamal Williams his first touchdown of the season. But she also talked about, him as a coach and, what she thought when the Saints decided to give him a second chance to be a head coach. and become the head coach of the team.
Not to belabor the past, but I gave him every benefit of the doubt that he would learn and grow from what happened in Oakland. Just like, as I said, I learned on the job, I grew on the job, I made mistakes on the job. I like to believe I improved on the job. I gave him the same benefit of the doubt that he could go to New Orleans and learn from what went wrong in Oakland, where the locker room, there's that expression, he lost the locker room. I don't know that he ever had the locker room to lose it. But what I saw in that game, when Jameis indicated that, yes, he knew the team was instructed to take a knee in a victory formation, but the team decided not to do that, that told me everything I needed to know.
So, I mean, she basically just talking about her experience with him, and it doesn't sound like too much has changed from his time with the Raiders. Now, I didn't follow the Raiders when Dennis Allen was the coach. I didn't. I knew they weren't very good. I don't know about his leadership qualities and leadership style. I'm actually going to have to ask Kirk Morrison to come on the show, man. Shouts out to Kirk Morrison. I'm pretty sure he'll probably have a little bit of some stories to tell with that. I'm trying to reach out to him soon. But regardless, like, what you hear is somebody that, was responsible for bringing him to the Raiders and didn't like the experience. And also, the final clip I'm going to play before I get back into the comments is about Amy Trask talking about DA's leadership.
Shortly after Dennis was hired by the Saints, I was asked about him, about his coaching, his leadership on CBS Sports, on that other pregame show, CBS Sports Network. And I answered in the following manner, because now I have an addition to that answer. I shared my views of Dennis's leadership, and I use that word in quotes, while he was with the Raiders. And I quickly noted that, look, we can all learn on the job, we can grow on the job, we can improve on the job. I not only grew on my job, I grew up on the job. I grew up on the job, I learned, I made mistakes, and I said, Dennis can do that as well. And what that play made clear to me is he has not changed his leadership style. So was I surprised that happened? I may have been one of the only people who was not surprised that happened.
Oh, I mean, she did not hold back in this interview about Dennis Allen, but man, you can just tell. I listen to interviews like the one with Cam Jordan, and they ask, does the team believe in Dennis Allen? And he just simply said, well, Dennis Allen is our head coach. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no. And we all know that Cam Jordan is the epitome of a company guy. He is going to say anything that's going to help this team and have individuals looking at this team in a positive light. And for him to not even say it, even if he don't mean it, but he understands that it can be beneficial and how that can be perceived. Him not caring about that at all tells me everything that I need to know about Dennis Allen. It is inevitable. Like, some of you may not want to hear this, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Like, people are fed up. People are tired. People are tired of going through this. And it's embarrassing. Like, the Saints have no business not being in the playoffs. If you look at the NFC South, and yes, Tampa won the division. Congratulations to them. But we know, with better coaching, the way that the Saints were structured, the Saints probably would have swept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They would have beat them. We know that the Saints, with a better coach, would have been able to hold on to a 17-0 lead with a little over 12 minutes left in the game against the Green Bay Packers. You know it, and I know it. But that's what happens when you don't have the right coach. And that's what happens when you have a coach that doesn't want to take blame solely. He'll say it, but he'll also add other people responsible for it. You can say whatever you want about, oh, well, it's not just me, it's everybody, right? But you're the one responsible for bringing these people on. So if these coaches are inept and they're not putting these players in the best position to succeed, that's your fault. You should take responsibility for this. You created this. This is your baby. You have the choice. And if you don't have the choice, if somebody is jumping in and intervening with the decisions that you're making and selecting your coaches, then you're not the right guy in the first place. Because you're supposed to have the huevos, the cojones, to sit up here and just say, man, no, this isn't working. We need to go in a different direction. And I'm going to try to find somebody that fits what we're looking for. You're never going to get what you need out of this guy consistently. You're not. And there'll probably be games where he looks like he knows what he's doing. We've seen some this season. Heck, the last time we seen the Saints, we saw it. But we know it's not going to be consistent when it comes to success, when it comes to Dennis Allen. We know it. And then to, like, honestly alienate the fan base and just tick them off. And, just because they're not on social media, they want to hide in their, echo chamber and, and not pay attention to what's going on the outside world and, disrespect fans everywhere by making it seem like we don't know what we're talking about. We know what you need. So shut up and act as if we don't matter, because that's what they're doing. When you go on WWL radio and just basically tell people, y'all don't know what y'all talking about, be quiet. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this longer than y'all been cheering for the team. So y'all need to be quiet. Once again, I've never been more disrespected as a Saints fan as I have in 2023. And I watched a lot of losing Saints football, but I never looked at this team and just said that they didn't care about the fan base until this season. Because what you have is a coach that don't care about the fan base. What you have is a GM that is willing to alienate a fan base. And what you have in an owner in Gail Benson, God bless her, is one that doesn't know anything about football. And I'm comfortable with saying this because the things that she know, like this is like, I want people to understand this. This isn't a shot at her. But let me tell y'all a story here. Towards the twilight of Mr. Benson, Mr. Tom Benson, the former owner of the New Orleans Saints, before he passed away, he was kind of working alongside Gail Benson, taking her to some of these owner meetings, having her sit in, kind of telling her the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff, because he knew that he was sick and he didn't have that much time left. So it was almost like somebody about to retire and taking somebody on to try to learn the ropes. This is a woman that, look, I would be shocked. Like, seriously, I would be shocked if Gail Benson was at any time in her life before she owned the New Orleans Saints, was just sitting around on Sundays watching Saints games. Like, I would be shocked. This is a woman, in my opinion, that just inherited a team from a late husband. So when people say, man, she don't know what she's doing, I mean, do you expect her to? And some people say sell a team. Like, she can't. Go look at his will. In Tom Benson's will, he has a clause that said the Saints can't be sold. So what are we talking about here, man? So I don't even, like, honestly, I don't even look at Gail Benson. I don't look at Gail Benson as an issue or problem. I just look at her as a figurehead. It's almost like Joe Paterno towards the late years at Penn State. Like, he wasn't really doing nothing. It was his coaching staff. He was just a figurehead. He was just the long tenured head coach that's been there since the 1950s and 60s. And that he was just a figurehead. Like, he wasn't really doing too much of anything. He was just that old, friendly head coach that everybody just learned to admire and won a lot of football games. That's how I look at Gail Benson. Somebody that's just there. And that's not a shot at her. I mean that respectfully. I'm looking at the guys that know football. I'm looking at the individuals that say that they're good at their job. The Mickey Loomises of the world. That's who I'm looking at. Because based on his position as an executive vice president, he basically is responsible for the day-to-day operations of this team. He's the one that makes the final say-so about this team. Because I'm pretty sure Gail Benson is just kind of just delegating work. Like, you don't really see Gail Benson saying too much of anything. Like, you see her, like, every time, like, during the Saints wins, when they go into the locker room, she just standing there clapping and smiling and just being there. Just being in the moment. So I don't even knock her for that. I don't even blame her for that. But it's hard not to blame Mickey Loomis. Tramal says, if I'm not mistaken, Dennis Allen in 2022 told the media the players need to show leadership and lead instead of him doing it. I'm paraphrasing. No, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. He says he looks at the locker room for that particular leadership. And shouts out to Saints Block Party. I mean, they hit the nail on the head. I seen a clip, and if you're not following those guys, please do. But they said something that kind of registered with me. They said that the Saints hired Dennis Allen to maintain the culture that Sean Payton left behind. But now we're being told that they need to have a culture change. Isn't that weird? Like, you basically kept this guy around because you wanted to maintain the culture. But now it's an issue with the culture, and you're not looking at Dennis Allen. Like, it's pretty much proven that he couldn't maintain the culture that you had with Sean Payton. So why keep him around? You're basically force-feeding the fans, and you're force-feeding your players to buy into this guy. It's rather you're a leader or you're not. It's rather you're good at your job or you're not. As a defensive coordinator, he's one of the best. Dude can coach my defense any day of the week. But as a head coach, he's not very good. He's not very good. It's just that simple. I say this all the time. I ain't say it all the time, but I said it last episode. Y'all see me, right? I'm a 6 foot tall, 211 pound black man. You cannot turn me into a 6 foot tall, 211 pound white man. If I sit up here and told y'all I was a white man, y'all think I'm crazy. Like, you're insane. Like, look at me. I'm dark skinned. I'm a black guy, right? You can't make me something that I'm not. I can't become something that I'm not. You can't make this dude a head coach. Anything outside of him finding himself and just becoming Bill Belichick, coming, Bill Walsh, Don Shula within himself, you're basically reaching. Once again, it's rather you have it or you don't. And it's clear. It's clear as day. It's an HD. Matter of fact, it's an ultra HD that this dude isn't the answer. So why are we sitting up here wasting our time? Why are we sitting up here wasting our time? TJ, you might have spoken on it, but did you see what the Raiders CEO said? God dog, you late. This been a whole show. Infamous. God dog, Infamous just came up in here. Man, we've been playing clips like that the entire episode. Yeah, man, shouts out to Infamous. Yeah, but yeah, man, we've been talking about that the entire episode. Yeah, we played a few clips, man. So, probably after we finish wrapping it up, you probably want to just be kind and rewind, like they used to say back in those Blockbuster video days. Y'all remember when they used to have those VHS and, inside the cartridge at Blockbuster cartridge, blue, yellow, and white, it used to say be kind and rewind. So be kind and rewind at the beginning. And speaking of which, I mentioned VHS. I had a funny story. All right, so yesterday we had some inclement weather. This has nothing to do with the Saints, but this afforded me a few minutes. But there was some inclement weather here in South Carolina. So I was at home yesterday, and Paxton stayed home from school because school was out because of the weather. So I'm working from home, and anybody that knows, I like video games. I have an Xbox 360, right? So y'all know, like before, like the Xbox Series X came out where you can actually kind of download video games, there were CDs. And I had NCAA football sitting up there inside of the pack, and Paxton opens it up and he sees this CD-ROM and he asks me, he's like, "Daddy, what's this?" And for the first time, in my 37 years of life, I felt like an old man. My son asking me like, "What's the CD?" I just thought that was funny, man. That just popped in my mind when I said "Be kind and rewind." But yeah, man, it just made me feel old that my 4-year-old son asked me, "What's a CD?" Wow, boy, that's when you realize that's when you start to realize your age. Infamous said, "Man, I swear I just came in my bed." Now, Infamous, we understand, man. Look. This is the middle of the day. If you're on Central Time, it's around lunchtime. It's 1:42 Eastern Standard Time right now. I understand that, yo. I understand. But yeah, when my son asked me what a CD is, man, I could have fell back. Patrick, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says credit to James Scametta. He said that keeping DA is like asking a friend who crashed 4 times in a row to drive you to the store. Yep. I mean, you wouldn't want to, get on the passenger side of that. I'm driving. DA hates black quarterbacks. I don't know if he hates black quarterbacks, man. I don't know, man. I just think the guy ain't good at his job. I just think he ain't good at his job. That's just my opinion. Says we need a hybrid head coach, GM like Sean Payton. GM ain't going nowhere. GM ain't going nowhere with that nation. They ain't going nowhere. I just want to make that very, very simple. He has too much power within his organization. At best, you're asking him to step down. DJ says, "Go Bucks." Sub TJ. What's going on, DJ? That's my guy right there, man. Hey, man, this one, man, shouts out to DJ, man. Anybody knows DJ, y'all know Big Talk Sports. Been on there a couple times. Of course, he happy about his Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but what a great person, man. Like, shouts out to my guy. What a great person. We got this group chat. Shouts out to my guy, Mike, who is a Carolina Panthers fan. He going through it right now. But, yeah, man, we have these great conversations, and we're just going to set something up this weekend, man, because, of course, the Bucks got a playoff game Monday, so we're going to have DJ come on Gumbo Pie Sports playoff edition over there, talk a little bit about Tampa Bay and what the keys to victory is for his squad. So, man, shouts out to my guy DJ, though. Yeah, man, that's my guy, man. Great, man, great human being. I like, literally, like, we'll start a conversation and talk like 5 minutes. Like, the intention be start like 5 minutes, and 5 minutes will turn into an hour and 5 minutes. Like, what a great person. That's my guy right there. Says, I don't think DA hates black quarterbacks. Think about it. If he did, we probably wouldn't have went after Deshaun Watson. Cool Sports, thank you very much. I don't think it has anything to do with the melanin. You know what I'm saying? I think that DA likes to be protected. I think that he rather go with a sure thing. Like, DA is he's not a riverboat gambler. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to mistake him with Les Miles or Ryan Rivera at any time, right? He's a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if DA says, "I'm going into this casino, I'm gonna bet $100," once that $100 is gone, he ain't opening up his wallet no more. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It is what it is. Like, he's a careful guy. Like, so he's going to make decisions that are careful. He's not going to be too aggressive. I mean, if he is aggressive, it's outside his wheelhouse, which is not a new, like, that's the Saints issue. That's the Saints fan issue with him, is that he's too conservative. Like, he's not going to be aggressive. Like, if he is aggressive, people are shocked about it. Let me see. Mickey Loomis is in Tom Benson will. Yep. And I like to take credit for that. Yes, I will. I will take credit for that. I was doing some research, and I am the one that put that article out. Now, all of a sudden, everybody want to try to catch on. Yeah, it's in the wheel. It's in the wheel. No. I was the one that found that article about that and brought that to a lot of people's attention. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably knew that. I'm not going to say people didn't, but I don't think a lot of people was thinking like that until I said it. But maybe I'm the Saints Cat Williams or something. I don't know. Shoot. But I'm gonna get my credit. I've been saying this, and I'm glad that people are starting to catch on now. I'm glad that it's starting to make its rounds. I'm glad that people are starting to realize what it is. It is what it is. Like, this dude is in his will. Like, he ain't going nowhere. He is not going anywhere. It's in his will. Well put, I'll lose my shirt. Tom Benson is rolling in his grave right now. I don't know if he was rolling in his grave because the Saints did some losing now when he was here too. I ain't gonna lie about it. He was kind of slow to make decisions as well. That and he was cheap. God rest his soul. But it is what it is. Like, became very, very loose with the pocketbook towards the end of his life. But when he was like in the 90s, that boy was that man was cheap. You know, he was cheap. But you don't become a billionaire if you're not, right? I mean, you think about Warren Buffett. Like, Warren Buffett, like, he ain't out here like spending a whole bunch of money, right? I mean, you become successful and you make millions upon millions of dollars, you know, by living that particular lifestyle. Thank you, TJ. That was a bomb you dropped when you exposed that. I appreciate that. Like I said, man, I'm not, look, I was looking and I was trying to figure out, I'm like, man, why in the world, like, is this dude so slow to make some of these decisions? I'm like, man, I knew Tom Benson had him in his will, but I didn't know to what capacity. When I read that article, man, my jaw dropped to the floor. I'm like, that makes sense. I mean, he has immunity. He's untouchable. He's Elliot Ness around his well, I guess he'll be Al Capone, right? Well, no, he'll be Elliot Ness. He's Elliot Ness. He's untouchable. You can't touch him. This man can say whatever he wants. This man can go on here and basically say, fans, be quiet. Ain't nothing gonna happen to him because he has too much power. He's third in command of your favorite football team. So at best, you have to hope that this guy has a change of heart. You got to hope that Ebenezer Scrooge see three ghosts. No, that's not. See three ghosts. There it is. You are hoping that Ebenezer Scrooge see three ghosts to help him change his life. Need to have the ghost of Saints past, the ghost of Saints present, and the ghost of Saints future visit Mickey Loomis in the middle of the night, which would be a really good skit. Which would be a very good story right there. Somebody needs to make that a Christmas story, Mickey Loomis edition. The ghost, who would play the ghost of Saints past? Would it be Jim Mara? Would it be who would be the ghost of Saints present? Who would that be? Would that be Sean Payton? Couldn't be Sean Payton because Sean Payton was the reason why we got Dennis Allen in the first place. So who would be the ghost of Saints present? Trey Hendrickson? You know? And who would be the ghost of Saints future? I have absolutely no idea, but that would be interesting, right? But that's the only way. You're asking for a guy who is setting his ways to change his mind. A millionaire, a guy with a whole bunch of money and influence to change his mind. Patrick, thank you very much for the 999. Says, when I listen to Trask talk about DA being mean, I immediately realize how in almost every media availability, he's 9 times out of 10 cutting reporters off, says something about his character. You know why? Because he doesn't want to hear the truth. He doesn't want to hear the truth about his ineptitude. You know, I can't knock Dennis Allen. It is hard to look in a mirror and point out your impotence. It is hard to hear somebody telling you you're doing something wrong. It is when you have really good intentions. And that's a habit that even today I try to break. You know, like one of my pet peeves, and I got to get away from this, but I'm human. One of my pet peeves is sometimes I allow certain comments to really get to me. You know, and when you feel like you're just trying, when you know that you have like the best intentions, right? And somebody just kind of muddy up what you're trying to say, it bothers you, right? So it's hard to look in a mirror and evaluate yourself and say, you know what? I really need to change. I really need to do it. It's kind of hard, you know? So I don't think he's reached that level yet. But guess what? You know, you ain't going to have no choice. Sometimes you're going to have to listen. Sometimes you have to listen in order for you to create that change. It's hard to do that, though. It is one of the hardest things in the world is for you to accept your imperfections. But you have to accept your imperfections in order for you to change them. If you walk around and just think that you have everything right, rather it's relationship, rather it's job, like you have to think about that one common denominator in all of those situations that you find yourself in. It's you. Rather it's you selecting the wrong people, being around the wrong people, may have the wrong job. It's you. All of those things were based on decisions that you made. So in order for you to create a level of change, it has to start with you. Even if that means walking away from a situation, even if that means embracing a certain situation, even if that means embracing your flaws. But you don't get there by cutting people off, because that's just saying that you don't want to hear the reality. Or even if that's not the reality, that's someone else's reality. And how can you change that person's reality or point of view if you're not listening to them fully? You're just trying to be in control. What he's trying to do, he's trying to be in control. But by trying to be in control, you're showing that you're out of control because you don't even want to hear the obvious. Big J says, I love listening to you and Big Q talk Saints football. Do y'all ever think about collabing for a show? We've collabed a couple of times. You know, I think the biggest issue with me and Big Q is kind of our timing. Like, I think Big Q mostly, asks me to like come on the show like weekends, and man, my weekends are basically kind of booked. They're going to slow down now. Now that football season is, for the Saints are coming to an end, but I still cover the NFL, and it's really going to start revving up now. Because the whole college process, the Senior Bowl coming up. But yeah, I've done shows with Big Q before, and me and Big Q, we follow each other on personal pages as well. So Big Q is a really good person, man, really good guy, great individual. And I like what he does on his channel as well, man. He works extremely hard, and I got nothing but respect for him. Let's see. To be honest, that might be why Sean Payton left. Probably got told that he can get the same results without Sean, which is probably why he endorsed Dennis Allen, because he knew that it'll fail. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think. Let me put my tinfoil hat on real quick. I think that Sean Payton knew it wasn't gonna succeed. I think he knew that the Saints weren't going to succeed with Dennis Allen. I think that he knew that Dennis Allen would more than likely, good times this thing, keep the Saints' head above water, but they would never reach their full potential. And I feel like Sean Payton probably felt around the time he started coaching again, the Saints will be moving on from Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen can go and become his defensive coordinator. That's what I think. Because throwing Dennis Allen a lifeline, right? Go ahead and coach the New Orleans Saints. Oh, thank you so much, Sean. Thank you for the endorsement, right? So you get fired and be like, you know what, man? It sucks, right? But come on and become our defensive coordinator over here in Denver. And now you have the offensive mind of Sean Payton and the defensive mind of Dennis Allen back together again. But stay tuned. That might happen. It may happen eventually. That may happen eventually. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Maybe that was something. I mean, that's a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying it's true, but if you're into conspiracy theories, that's not out the realm of possibility. I mean, do you think so? They asked Dennis Allen, did he want to say anything to the fan base? And it was the most lackadaisical. See, I hit that word. Shouts out to Zion. Boring, same old crap response ever. Yeah, because he don't care. He don't care, man. Like, dude don't care about no fans. He don't care what we think. He know the fans don't like him. He know the fans want him gone. And a part of him wish he can just tell the fans where they can get off. But he can't. Sean Payton is a cocky, arrogant sellout. Patrick Mahomes, I felt that, man. And you just saying that, man, because you got to play him twice a year. Come on now, Pat. For those that don't know Dalton, that's my good buddy right there. Dalton sounds exactly like Patrick Mahomes. So he might as well don't even put Dalton Schmidt on there anymore. His name is Patrick Mahomes as far as I'm concerned. You're just upset that you got to play Sean Payton twice a year, my friend. TJ, I've been saying that for months about Sean setting DA up so he can come to Denver eventually. I mean, I basically said, I mean, come on, man. Like, look, I put the tinfoil hat on from time to time, but I mean, it's not out the realm of possibility. It sure seems like Unc OG, that PIMP talk and fugality has helped me a lot. Trying to set myself up so I don't have to be an old man working every day just to pay bills. Well, yeah, that ain't the move right there. But some of us, I mean, that happens, man. Sometimes we got to, do what we got to do. But the plan is not to stay in that same position. But keep working hard and dedicating yourself, man. You're going to be all right. All right, I'm going to take a few more, then we're going to we're going to get up out of here. It says, DA makes Sean Payton look like prime Belichick. I mean, Sean Payton is a great coach. I mean, look, I know people mad at him, and he did finesse his way out of New Orleans. I ain't going to lie about that. But he's the greatest coach the New Orleans Saints ever had. And he gave us the greatest moment New Orleans Saints fan ever had. And the credibility and the love and the respect that we have from other people when it comes to this team was because of Sean Payton. And we can't just throw him away because of that, right? I mean, two things can be true. He can be the greatest coach the Saints ever had, and also he can be a guy that finagled himself out of New Orleans. Both can be true in this case. Mickey Loomis was looking like Will on last episode of Fresh Prince in the Empty Room after he asked the players in the front office, I'm sticking with Dennis Allen. Are y'all in or out? Man, what SpongeBob said, I'm going to head out. And y'all know that meme. I'm heading out. Yeah, let me go somewhere I know I'm going to win. And ain't going to waste my prime. TJ, you think Mike going and I don't see any scenario where Michael Thomas is back with the New Orleans Saints. Too many injuries for the Saints liking and not enough happiness for Mike T's liking. But, Mike T deserves to go somewhere where he can resurrect his career. Dude ain't happy. You can't make a person happy. I think he's unhappy about the way that his career has kind of turned out. He was on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and it got completely railroad. So I don't think he's happy about that. Sean left because Mickey wouldn't listen to him. I don't think that's it. I don't think that was it. I think that he was with Drew Brees all that time, and maybe he felt like it was just that time for him to move on and try to take on another challenge, Now, you can say, maybe he just felt like, it was time, and that was his way to escape. Let's see. Stop making excuses for Sean Payton. Drew Brees was 6'4", right? I don't know what we're talking about with Sean Payton. I don't know. I know you ain't talking to me. I don't think you're talking. I think you're talking to the chat. TJ, your perfect offseason move if you're Mickey. Paulson and Pete have big leverage now. Bye-bye, Andrews, Pete. Too little, too late. Look, man, this is what I don't want to fall for. I don't – look, I know guys had good seasons. Andrews, Pete, nobody really said anything about him, so that tells you that he had a good season, but I'm still moving on from him. Paulson Adebo, look, that was there already. What we saw from Paulson Adebo was exactly what it was supposed to be last year, but dude had a lot of injuries that he didn't really talk about. And that comes from individuals that were close to the situation. So I think that what you're seeing from Paulson is the fact that he was healthy throughout this season for the most part. So people start to see what was going to happen last season. But Andrews P, yeah, you got to go, bro. Look, nah, I'm tired of this. I'm playing lights out on my way out. It's rather you have it or you don't. Move on from Andrews Pete. Get yourself a better offensive line. If Ryan Ramczyk, God bless him, man. I hate that he had to end his career like that. If his career is over, but get yourself some offensive linemen, man, and strengthen that offensive line and get better. And move on from that. But yeah, Andrews Pete, look. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he was all pro. I still say move on from him. I'm serious. It's time. Too many injuries, too much up and down play. And this has been the best he played in I don't know how long. So That's good, man. Let them, use that as leverage to find another team. It is time for the New Orleans Saints to make that transition to a more younger, a more stronger offensive line, and add some more running and add some more to the running game. But and TJ gone, Mike T, AK, Winston, Graham, Laddie, Mario, and Jordan. I don't think Mario and Jordan going. If you get rid of DeMario and Cam Jordan, that's it. That's it. Those are the two guys, honestly, that's keeping that locker room intact. You let those guys go, like we talking about an 0-4 start. Because those two guys are so motivational and so inspirational and so much of a great leadership team that you basically sabotage your locker room. Like, to me. So if they leave, it's really going to be inevitable. This might be Raiders all over again. Might fire this boy after 4 games. So they might want to tread lightly when it comes to that. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Much love to everybody here. For those that may not checked out the interview with Amy Trask, we had a few clips that we played at the beginning of the show. Please check those out. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. Follow me on social media. You can follow me on TikTok at TJ the Host. And you can also follow me on X at TJAYJones8 and Facebook.com, search Gumbo Pot Sports. Much love. Hit that like button on your way out. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.